The restaurant was silent for a moment, the kind of silence that feels heavy, like the air itself had paused. All eyes turned to the table by the window, where a man in a tailored navy blue suit sat swirling a glass of red wine. His watch gleamed under the golden lights, and his smirk said everything about him: confidence, wealth, and the belief that money could buy anyone's worth. In front of him stood a young waitress with trembling hands, her name tag barely holding to her faded apron. "Maya. Serve me in English and I'll pay you $1,000, he had said loudly, his tone half joking, half cruel. The laughter that followed wasn't just from him. A few businessmen around him joined in, amused by the way he looked down on her broken accent and shy posture. Maya's face flushed. She wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor. She had been humiliated before, but never like this, never so publicly. Never by someone who looked at her as if she was nothing more than a joke in a foreign tongue. Yet what happened next silenced that laughter and changed both of their lives forever. Before we go deeper into this story, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you believe in kindness, respect, and second chances. Because this story might just remind you how a single moment of grace can change everything. Maya had come to the city of New York 2 years ago. Back then, she believed the streets would be lined with opportunities. She imagined herself walking into a big firm, working as a translator, maybe even sending money back home to her younger brother. But dreams don't always greet you with open arms. Reality hit her like cold rain. She had a degree from her small hometown in the Philippines, but here it meant little. Her accent was laughed at, her qualifications questioned, and every "sorry, we're not hiring" felt like another door slammed in her face. Eventually, she found herself at the Golden Vine, a fine dining restaurant where she worked double shifts just to survive. Most customers ignored her presence. Some were kind, some were cruel, but none had ever made her feel as small as the man sitting before her that night. Alexander Gray, a self-made millionaire known for his sharp business mind and sharper tongue. Alexander wasn't evil, at least not intentionally. He was simply a man who had forgotten humility after too many years of success. Money had made him untouchable, and somewhere along the way he started believing that kindness was a luxury he didn't need. That night, when he saw Maya struggling to understand one of his orders, he thought it'd be funny to make a spectacle out of it. "Serve me in English," he had laughed, tapping his watch, "and I'll pay you $1,000. Deal?" The table roared with laughter. But Maya didn't respond immediately. Her lips trembled, but her eyes didn't drop this time. Something inside her shifted, a quiet, burning strength that came not from pride, but from pain. She took a slow breath, stepped closer, and in perfectly fluent English replied, "Would you like that $1,000 bill in cash or card, sir?" The laughter died instantly. But Maya didn't stop there. Her voice steady, she continued in Spanish, asking him how he preferred his steak cooked. Then, in French, she offered to bring him a glass of Bordeaux instead of Merlot. Switching to Italian, she complimented his choice of suit, before finishing softly in Japanese, thanking him for dining at their restaurant. By the time she finished, the restaurant was so quiet that even the clinking of a fork from another table sounded deafening. Alexander's smirk had vanished. His glass was frozen mid-air, eyes wide in disbelief. The men beside him exchanged uneasy looks, unsure if they should laugh or apologize. Maya bowed politely, turned, and walked back toward the kitchen, her heart pounding so fast she thought it would burst. She didn't do it to humiliate him. She did it to reclaim herself, to remind the world that respect wasn't earned through wealth, but through humanity. Behind her, Alexander sat frozen, his reflection in the glass suddenly unfamiliar. That night, Maya went home exhausted but strangely light. She didn't expect anything to come of it. After all, people like him never apologized. She washed her uniform by hand, called her brother overseas, and assured him she was doing fine. "Soon," she said softly. "Soon I'll send for you." But the next morning, everything changed. When she arrived at work, the restaurant manager called her into his office. Her stomach dropped. She feared she was about to be fired. Instead, the manager handed her an envelope with her name written in elegant handwriting. Inside was a check for $10,000. No note, just the signature of Alexander Gray. Maya couldn't believe it. She tried to return it, insisting it was too much, but the manager simply smiled. "He said it's not payment," he explained. "He said it's a thank you for teaching me something I'd forgotten." That same afternoon, Alexander returned, this time without his usual entourage, without arrogance, without the expensive watch. Just him, holding a simple bouquet of lilies. He waited until Maya finished her shift, then asked if he could speak to her for a moment. In that quiet corner of the restaurant, he apologized. Not just with words, but with sincerity that made Maya's eyes glisten. He told her about his past, how he grew up poor, mocked for his accent when he first came to the U.S., and how, somewhere along the way, he began to look down on others to hide the insecurities he once suffered from. "I forgot," he said softly, "what it feels like to be on the other side." Maya didn't say much. She simply nodded, her forgiveness silent but full. In that moment, two people, one who had been stripped of dignity and another who had lost his, found something they both needed: understanding. In the weeks that followed, Alexander began visiting the Golden Vine often, not to flaunt wealth, but to observe. He saw the exhaustion in the staff's faces, the quiet struggles hidden behind polite smiles. It moved him. A few months later, the restaurant staff were surprised when the manager announced that their wages were being increased and new benefits introduced, all funded by a silent investor. That investor, of course, was Alexander Gray, but that wasn't all. He also started a foundation called the Maya Initiative, a program designed to help immigrants and language learners find jobs based on their skills, not their accents. He hired Maya as the program's first language coordinator, with a full-time salary and sponsorship to complete her master's degree in linguistics. For the first time in years, Maya felt seen, not as a struggling waitress, but as a woman capable of changing lives. She cried the day she received her first office badge, remembering every insult, every rejection, and every night she'd fallen asleep wondering if her dreams were foolish. And Alexander? He changed too. The coldness that once surrounded him faded. His laughter became softer, his words kinder. He still lived in luxury, but his heart, now humble, became his greatest wealth. Their friendship grew from mutual respect, and though they came from different worlds, they were united by something stronger than success: gratitude. 1 year later, at a grand charity gala, Maya stood on stage in a flowing white dress, her hands trembling around the microphone. Cameras flashed, people whispered, but her eyes found Alexander's in the crowd, smiling proudly. "I used to believe that language separated people," she began, her voice calm and clear. "But I've learned that kindness speaks every language. The day I was mocked for my accent was the day I discovered my strength, not in silence but in dignity. And tonight, I dedicate this program to every person who has ever felt small in a world too loud to listen." The audience rose in applause. Alexander clapped the loudest, his eyes misty with emotion. After the ceremony, as she stepped down from the stage, Maya found him waiting. He didn't speak, just handed her a folded napkin. On it, in neat handwriting, were 5 words: "Thank you for teaching me." Weeks later, a video of their story went viral. Someone had recorded that night at the restaurant, the challenge, the languages, the stunned silence. Millions watched as a young woman's courage humbled a man of power. The comment sections filled with people from every corner of the world, thanking Maya for reminding them that intelligence, grace, and dignity don't come with accents or wealth. The video ended with a quote Maya later became known for: "Speak with kindness. It's the one language everyone understands." If this story touched your heart, if you believe in the power of respect, courage, and second chances, please like, comment, and share this video. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts around the world. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what language do you believe kindness speaks best in? That night, as the city lights shimmered across the skyline, Maya stood by her apartment window, watching the glow dance on the horizon. She had once come here with nothing, not even confidence in her own voice. But now she had something greater than wealth or recognition. She had her dignity, her voice, her purpose, and somewhere across town. Alexander Gray sat alone in his penthouse, no longer laughing at others' flaws, but smiling quietly at the memory of a young waitress who had once taught him, in 5 languages, how to be human again. Sometimes, the richest people aren't those who own the most, but those who learn the most, especially from those the world overlooks.